Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah the Father and Yahusha our Mashiach, his voice. Hear, O Yasharah. Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one Yahuwah. This is Brother David coming to you again to bring you trouble. Jacob's trouble. See Jacob there, walking away? He's outside of the circle. Now, I know that you know the story by now. Let me give you a few details. The police was called. A woman, an unidentified woman, called the police. They said Jacob was trespassing. Here's a question for you. This is a question for you ladies. Knowing that the police are shooting black men and locking them up in disproportionate numbers, why would you call the police on one of your brothers? You could have given them a death sentence. Well, the police showed up. Here's Jacob. They probably told him, get on the floor. Whatever commands they gave him, he resisted. A scuffle ensued. Jacob overpowered these three officers. From what is said in the article, they tased him, or they tried to tase him twice, but it did not work. What happens when three of you can't control one man and then the tasers don't work? What do you do next? You pull out the guns. You see all three are pointing their guns at this young man. Look in the circle in the back there. There's a woman coming. The woman told the police, "Stop. My children are in the car." One of the police officers, a woman police officer, turned to the woman and says, "Get back before I shoot you." Did you expect them to say anything different? So they continued to follow behind our brother, Jacob. He walks over to the car door. Then right behind him, guns drawn, he had no weapon. He opens the door. One of the cops grabs his t-shirt and shoots him 7 times in the back. Why did they do that? They were afraid. We are like superhuman. Okay, let me give you 2 examples, okay? I forgot the brother's name, but you know the story about Wendy's when the guy was sleeping in the car and the police had him to pull over into a parking space, and they got out, they gave him, a sobriety test? And then they placed him under arrest. He resisted. He overpowered both of those officers, and they're tased him now. He overpowered both of those officers, took their taser, and began to run away. What happened? They shot him in the back. Then after they shot him, they said, "I got him." And then one went and put his foot on top of his shoulders while he was dying. You know, you cannot expect anything different from them. Do you know why? Because the Father said that they are cruel. They have no compassion for you. So what is the real issue here? Is it racism against black men? Or is it something else? George Floyd. It took 5 cops to get him down to the ground. He resisted arrest also. All you have to do is look at the tape from the body cams. 5 cops. When they had him on the ground, they had one on his legs, one on his back, and one on his neck. Why do they need such extreme force? Because to them, you are superhuman. And they are afraid. Now, out of all of these instances that I just spoke about, what is the common factor that links them all together? They resisted the authorities. Romans chapter 13, verses 1 to 2. Verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. For there is no power but of Yah. Now, before they had God there, but we know that God should not be in the text. It is a replacement for Yahuwah, and God's full name is God Ra'el, and that is Satan's name. When you call on God, if you put God in the sentences that you speak, you have blasphemed the name of Yah. The powers that be are ordained of Yah. Hold it. Who put these powers over you? Who called these people with no compassion from the north, brought them into the promised land to evict you? Yah. Why did he do such a thing, Brother David? Because we're stiff-necked, unmovable people. We don't follow instructions. He placed the world in our hands, and we blew it. We went chasing after other mighty ones. We began to blaspheme the name of Yahuwah. Therefore, he sent us into captivity. Verse 2. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, listen carefully, brothers and sisters, resisteth the ordinance of Yah. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Okay. When you resist these police officers, you're not resisting the white man. Guess who you're resisting? Yah. He sent you here to be trained, to teach you how to follow instructions. Because our ancestors don't know how to listen. But some of us are so stiff-necked and so unmovable and in such a strong delusion to believe that they have the same rights as the white persons. Well, it's in the Constitution, isn't it, Brother David, that all men are created equal? Yes, all white men are created equal. You were not included in the Constitution in that time. They were talking about white men. So we found a flaw in their law and then wanted to place ourselves on an equal standing with our captors. What a delusion. You are a slave. Listen what Harriet Tubman said. I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if they only knew they were slaves. Brothers and sisters, you are a slave here in the United States of America. They show you that over and over again, but yet we're in such a strong delusion, believing all of these lies, that we think that we are free. Now look at that word, damnation. Strong's definitions. The number is G2919. That is Greek. Look at the word, krima. Sounds like the root word for cremation. Look at the definition. A decision. Our brother, Jacob. He made a decision. What decision did he make? To resist the power. What happened when he made that decision? The function or the effect for or against crime. He received the effect. Remember something: cause and effect. Cause and effect. He caused the effect, getting shot 7 times in the back, because he resisted the powers. It is just that simple. The Father has given us instructions so that this would not happen to us. But because we have no knowledge, and because we're in this strong delusion, believing that we are part of this society, this is the outcome. Look at the rest. Avenge, condemn, condemnation, damnation. Wipe that damnation thing out. Let's look at this one. Plus, go to law. What did he receive? Judgment. Why did he receive judgment, Brother David? He resisted the power. Once he resisted the powers that be that have been given over us, now they have the go-ahead. They have the right to take you out. You don't have the same rights as Kyle Rittenhouse, the young white man that came from another state. He came down into Kenosha. He said he was here to defend people's property. He was here to stop the looting. He came down with an AK? He has it strapped in the front. Let's see, what did he do? He shot one man in the head. While he was fleeing the scene, the protesters chased him down, threw him to the ground. He shot another man and killed him. Then another protester tried to take the gun away from him, and he shot that protester in the arm. Then he gets up, puts his gun around his shoulders, begins to walk right up the block. Remember, the police are right up the block watching the whole thing. He walks over to them with his hands raised. Did they spray him with bullets? Did they jump out the car, sick the dogs on him? Did they go to wrestle him to the ground? No. They drove right past him. Like he did nothing wrong. He had to actually surrender to the police officer and told him, hey, I just killed a man. He really killed 2 and wounded another. If this was you, you would be in the morgue right now, brothers and sisters. The people who are rioting and protesting over there and in Oregon, you know these are white folks, right? In the name of Black Lives Matter, they're making it look like a terrorist group. And I told you guys years ago, stay away from those groups. Don't even say those terms, Black Lives Matter. Why? White people hate when you say that. Every time you say Black Lives Matter, they say all lives matter. Blue lives matter. Why do they say things like that? Well, I told you from the beginning. They have no compassion. They are cruel. Danielle, we've been transliterating all of the names and the things that are very important. We find that the Europeans, they have an agenda. I'll show you in a second. Look at the phonetic breakdown of Danielle's name in Hebrew. Dan-ya-el. How'd you get that, Brother David? Okay, there's the Hebrew script. I provided it for you. The first letter is a dalet. How is it pronounced? Da. The second letter is a nun. How is it pronounced? Na. You put your vowel in between the dalet and the nun, which is a na sound, and what do you have? Dan. How are we doing so far? I think we're doing good. The third letter is a yod. How is it pronounced? Ya. You put your vowel after the yod, which is a na sound, and you have ya. You have your second syllable. The fourth letter is an aleph. How is it pronounced? A or e. A or e. In this instance, we're going to choose the e. The last letter is a lamed. How is it pronounced? La. You put your S sound with the L sound, and you have L. Danya El. Chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael. Can we stop again for a moment? His name is not Michael. I'm going to let you transliterate this one for yourself. Let me tell you what it is, though. It's Mayakael. Mayakael. Why do they keep doing this? Okay, look at the I in Michael. The I replaces the Y. Are you with me? Look at the I in Danielle. The I replaces the Y. If you replace the Y, you have taken out the name of Yah. Are you with me? They hate our Father. They hate his men. They hate his women. They hate all of us. That's why they took the name of your father out of the book. And at that time shall Mayakael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. He only stands for one group of people. The children of Yasharal. He is the avenging servant of Yah. And there shall be a time of trouble. Jacob's trouble. Did we not just see the trouble that Jacob is in? This is some coincidence that his name is Jacob. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Wow, that's 3 times that time is mentioned. And at that time, you're going to see your brothers and your sisters murdered in the streets. And at that time, you're going to see chaos like you've never seen before. And at that time, there's going to be a plague in the land. But look at what's going to happen at that time. Thy people shall be delivered. Rejoice, brothers and sisters. For our time of deliverance is at hand. Who's going to be delivered? Everyone that shall be found written in the book. How do you get in this book, Brother David? You have to have the seal in your forehead, in your cerebral cortex, your frontal lobe that is responsible for you to make proper judgments. Did our brother Jacob make the proper judgment? No, he did not. Instead, he experienced the effect because he did not listen. The ones who shall be written in the book shall keep the ways of Yah, and you shall be on his time. Verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. The trumpet shall sound, and the dead in Yah shall rise first, some to everlasting life, and some to everlasting contempt. Verse 3. And they that be wise, if you're calling upon the name of Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yah, if you are keeping his ways, if you're on his time, if you're holding to his Sabbaths and you're loving his name, you are wise. They shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. We are shining right now, brothers and sisters. The apostles in Shaul, they said, greater things shall we do. We have mass media. We're able to get around and do things that they couldn't do in those days. And they that turn many to righteousness, the laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments, they shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, as the stars forever and ever. You shall have the right to the tree of life. You shall enter into the gates. Who are those who are going to do those things, Brother David? Those who keep his commandments. It's just that simple, brothers and sisters. We were in a strong delusion for all of these years, violating our Father's laws and blaspheming his name all day long in the lands of our captivity, but we are coming out of this thing. Let me show you a witness. Jeremiah. You know, they really hate our Father. They hate him so much. If you're asking, why do they hate our Father? Because he only chose one group of people out of all the families of the earth. You know, these bubble-lipped, wide-nostrilled, bubble-butt, black and brown-skinned people that reflects him. He did not choose anyone else. So they hate him. Read Psalms 83 for confirmation. Their goal was to wipe us out from the face of the earth so that we do not represent his name. That's why you cannot represent any other name that is given. Only call Yah, Yahuwah, Yahweh. If you do that, you are safe. Now look at the phonetic breakdown. Yah, Ra, Me, Yahu. All right, how did you come to that conclusion, Brother David? Hebrew reads from right to left. Hey, look at all those dots and letters there. I mean, you know, those symbols under the name. Who provided that for you? The Jews. They're telling you how to pronounce this name, so we know who the culprit is. Correct. First letter is a yod. How is it pronounced? Yah. When you add your vowel, which is a na sound, you have Yah. You see it there? First syllable. Second letter is a rush. How is it pronounced? Ra. You add your vowel, which is a na sound. There you have it, Ra. The third letter is a mem. How is it pronounced? Meh. You add your vowel, which is an aleph, and you're going to use the S sound. You have meh. Now the last three letters, we're going to put them together. You have a yod. How is it pronounced? Ya. You have a hey. How is it pronounced? Ha. And then we have our woo, or our wa. How is it pronounced? Woo or wa. We're going to put those three letters together. We're going to put an ah sound in between the yod and the hey. And we're going to put our oo sound, which is the vowel, in the end. And what do we have? Yahoo. Hey. On the slave ship manifest. Go there. You'll see the people, our ancestors who came over, named themselves after Yah. They named themselves Yahoo. Are you with me? In the Bantu language, the wa, the lead letter, is pronounced woo, W-O, woo, because W is exactly what it sounds like, doubled U, two U's, oo sound, oo, oo. Yah-re-me, Yahoo. That is his real name. Verse 7. Alas, for that day is great. What day is he talking about? The gathering. So that none is like it. You'll never see this again, and no one has ever seen it before. It is even the time. Oh, wow. Here's our witness of Jacob's trouble. We're witnessing it play out on TV every day. No one can deny that we are in this time, but he, who's that? Jacob, Yasharol, shall be saved out of it. Is it everyone, Brother David, who is of seed and bloodline? No, only those who have overcome. Verse 8, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah of hosts, that I, who's going to do this, the master of the universe, the creator of all things, will break his yoke from off your neck. Get your knee off our necks. Get your yokes off of our necks. That means we are not free, brothers and sisters, and will burst thy bonds. You are still a slave. You are still in bondage, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. We won't be used anymore for merchandise. The Democratic Party is using the murders of our brothers and our sisters for their political gain. They're trying to stir up the pot to get you to join in with their delusion. Verse 9, but they shall serve Yahuwah, the supreme power of the Elohim. Let me be a little fair here. But they shall serve Yahweh, the supreme power of the Elohim, and David, their king, whom I will raise up unto them. David is in the grave, but he shall arise. Didn't it say that the dead shall arise first? The trumpet shall sound, and then there's going to be those who shall be raised in power, and that shall be David, our king. Verse 10, therefore, fear thou not. Don't be afraid, brothers and sisters. You don't need to be afraid if you do not resist the powers. Keep the laws of men, keep the laws of Yah, for there is no power that is not ordained by Yah. O my servant Jacob, saith Yahuwah, neither be dismayed, O Yasharol, for lo, I will save them from afar. Halal Yahuwah, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. Tell me something. Why have we been in a delusion all these years? Who have been in the lands of their captivity for 400 years? Who have been carried around the world in ships? Who have been enslaved and treated evil in every nation on the globe? You! And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest. We're going to inherit the promised land. We're going to inherit all things. They're going to have to restore all that they have stolen from us. And he's going to be quiet. You don't have to scream for rights or any of these things anymore, because none of them are going to make us afraid. We shall be under the protection of Yahuwah, the supreme power of the Elohim, the creator of all things, the master of the universe. Hello, Yahuwah. I was watching on the news. They said our brother Jacob was chained to the bedposts, the railings. He's paralyzed from the waist down. Yeah. Isn't that overkill? They said his mother came to visit him. Yes, she did. When she came to visit him, he cried. And he said, "Mom, I'm so sorry. I don't want you to have to take care of me for the rest of my life." She would have to clean his feces, help him to get in and out of the tub. She would have to make sure she does his meals until he kind of learns how to get around a little better. He was repentant at that moment because he knew that only if he had another chance, he would not have done what he did. What did he do, Brother David? He resisted the powers. There was a cause, and the effect was 7 shots in the back. Yeah. Our brother in Wendy's, he can't see the error of his ways because he's finished. The brother that had the knee on his neck, he's dead. He can't see the error of his ways. But Jacob, in his trouble, he sees that if he did not resist the power, he would be walking around today, and his children would not be traumatized. Wake up, brothers and sisters. The reason that all of this is happening is because our time is nigh. Shalom. Enjoy your feast.